All right, guys. Cool. Welcome to one of the last workshops of Social Month. William, thank you for putting this together. I guess, yeah, we're going to start off by getting really present with ourselves and with each other here in this Lifebook community. So what we're going to do, I want you guys just a quick breathing exercise. Let's go ahead and close our eyes. If you're sitting in a chair, what you can do is put your hands together, lay one on top of the other, or if you want to touch your thumb to your first finger, you can do that as well. Whatever mudra you want to do, you are welcome to what is calling you. But let's ground ourselves here. And first of all, just take a couple deep breaths. Find a little bit of silence. So let's go in through the nose, out through the mouth at the same pace. So about a 3 count on each breath. So in through the nose, 1, 2, 3, out through the mouth. Same pace as your inhale. Let's do a couple more of those. 1, 2, 3, inhale. 1, 2, 3, exhale. 1, 2, 3, inhale. 1, 2, 3, exhale. Go ahead and continue that on your own for a couple more breaths. And really just start to feel being present with your body, being present with the seat that you're in, the chair, or maybe it's a couch, maybe it's the ground. Feeling your seat on that chair or ground or couch as you're continuing to breathe like this for, let's do 30 more seconds. Just really feel the presence of where you are. And I also want you guys to feel that you are connected with the Lifebook community right now too. You're connected with all of us here, right? We're all doing it at the same time. We're in a circle connected here. Imagine us in a circle. Let's do one more breath. In and out. All right, grounded here, present. Welcome, everybody. And welcome to this awesome workshop that William has put together for us that we're gonna help run for you guys to connect more. And I'll just hand it over to you, William.
Awesome, Eric. Wow. I was just sending some messages here and there to someone who couldn't get in, but that was a really powerful way to start, just grounding ourselves. And we want to be present with you too. I actually had made a PowerPoint, but I figured I don't want us to hide behind a screen. We want to show our faces, be here with you guys, be present. We're a rather small group. This is actually the smallest attendance I've had on any events I posted. So I thought it was a really good opportunity to be more, to let you engage more, to let you decide a little bit of the tone of the event. But also we have some, of course, we want to keep a certain structure to it. There are things we want to share with you, key strategies that really helped me and Eric uplevel our social life. I could just say real quick for me, I mean, if you don't know my story, I used to be a very shy kid when I was younger. I mean, my teenage years as well, very introverted, very shy, really scared, like putting my hand up in class. That was like the really strong heartbeat moments. Just social interactions in general was tricky because I had so much social anxiety. Now, fast forward to today, and I played over 60 concerts in a band. I have been teaching more than 1,000 pupils in the schools. Just really, it's not like, it might sound like it went from there to there like that quick, but it was really a journey of we talked about this on the event with Eric and Nadia, with building powerful self-confidence in any social setting. It has a lot to do with expanding your comfort zone. You come to this place where, so maybe you've seen this picture where the comfort zone is a bubble, and then outside of it, there's another bubble where it says where the magic happens. Where the magic happens is outside of the comfort zone. So we want to also open up for today to think about the ways we can put one foot outside of that comfort zone to really embrace this fear we have of, you know, talking with other people, or wherever you are on your journey. You know, it can be maybe what makes you feel socially uncomfortable right now is stepping in front of a stage and speaking in front of people. So we're gonna look into this too. Some key elements that we want to cover during this session. We want you to look at the key people in your life, because it is about strategies you can use to up-level your social life. So we want to take a look at the 5 most influential people in your life. And now, before we do that, Eric, do you want to do a little intro for yourself before we move any further?
Sure. If we want to do an intro, yeah. Starting to know a lot of people on here, which is awesome. We are a community family. But yeah, personally about me, I have been an athlete my whole life. And then I went and traveled and tried to find who I am outside of being an athlete, because that was a dedication for a long time for me. And I personally traveled to really find another identity of who I was outside of being an athlete, being in athletics. I then I went to school. That didn't work out. And then I started to do some coaching on the athletic area, and now also with individuals and more personal coaching. And I've been a teacher at different schools around the globe. And also now I'm getting more into this. I have a podcast called the Full Potential Living Podcast, that you can find on Spotify and iTunes. And interviewing quite a few Lifebookers as well. So a lot of topics that are related to all of us. And trying to help others live their full potential. So that's just a little bit about me, and also do some coaching. I'm a Lifebook leader as well. So that's a little bit about me.
I'm Lifebook leader in the process, you could say, in progress. I'm going through the certification now, actually. Yeah, it's really good. As I said, that's awesome, Eric. Yeah, and we did a podcast together, cultivating self-awareness to pull yourself out of your lowest moments in life. You find it on the Full Potential Living podcast. He also has many other amazing podcasts, and the events that you and Nadia have had during this month, that's fire, man. Yeah. As we said, we wanted to make this interactive. So I have actually a few questions that I want to ask you, because you came here with an intention, right? You came here for a reason. So the first question is, what is the number one thing you want to get out of this event? I will write it now. I took the liberty to write it while Eric was talking. If you can write it in the chat, that helps us with structuring this event so that we can help you in the best way. And we want to take a little bit of a, maybe a bit of a coaching approach to it, like giving you an experience of what it would be like to be coached on this by us. So we want to use our experience there to see if we can help you up level this category. Now that can be, you know, maybe you want to improve your score in the social, let's see, wider circle of friends in my new community. That's good. That's good. Let's give you some time to write down. Finding other like-minded people. Yeah, that's a good one. I'm working on that as well, I can say. Yeah, it's really good. I find a lot of people online, but finding them in person in the town I live, which is a bit small, has actually been a little challenging. So that's a good one. Strategies, actions to be more comfortable networking. Yeah, I've started a new career that is going to require me to connect more broadly with the community. Yeah, so then you will definitely benefit from this exercise of stepping out of your comfort zone and taking it gradually, a little bit like a dam. You're opening the dam gradually, and eventually it will flow freely, this river. To connect better with my connect better my social interactions with my other categories and goals. It's a big category, interconnectivity between social life and the other categories. So that's a good one.
Yes.
How to cultivate deeper friendships, integrating my passions.
Awesome.
That's a good one too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thank you for your answers. If you're still writing, yeah. Question 2 is actually came in with an open empty, as in no expectation mind. Out of curiosity to what you'd have to share about the subject. Yeah. Oh, you write yours as well, Eric. Share experience with the Lifebook community and always expand my close relationships online and in person.
Yeah.
I have, Kevin as well, to improve my social relationships and my career at the same time. I realized social is the back door to my career category. That's true. That's true. Big correlation there.
Connectivity there. Yeah. Yep.
To be more confident when invited to be guest for a podcast. Whose interviewer I never met. Oh, Karen Martin. Yeah, that's funny. That's funny. That's a bit of an inside joke. Yeah.
Lots of awesome shares here.
One more question. I had 3 in mind, but I can see if we have time for the last one after it. What are you committed to doing during this event and after it? This is tied to the intention you have for this session. Think about what you are committed to actually making as a change to make this happen. And we're going to go deeper in that, but it's really nice to hear that from you, to see you write it down in the chat. That way we know better what you are actually working on right now. Ooh.
Right. And the first one, Tanya,
you wrote a lot. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a bit longer. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem, no problem.
Oh,
It's strange to explain, to be honest, in written form.
that's totally fine. As long as you're sharing authentically.
Yes.
I have a high score in social, but my circle is not reflecting my vision. So I'd like to connect to people and be deeply connected with others. Awesome. Me too. In the past, I tend just to lower myself to have friends. Now I'm in the transformation and I feel a bit unsure about my current contacts, and a best friend is missing. Really strange for me as I see some people differently. What would you recommend to dial with everything in the transformation and towards my vision? So you're in the right place, Tanya.
And we are going to be talking about that during this call.
And thank you for sharing vulnerably and authentically. A lot of this stuff I'm working on as well, continuously building my network as well.
Yeah. And I think it's like if you once went through the door and you see things more clearer, it's no way back.
Oh yeah. When you raise your awareness, you can't really lower it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Can't go back.
No.
Be sincere and happy to share my experience. Karen, Elise, being open and vulnerable and sharing. Stay open and curious when meeting new people. I love that. That's part of our challenge this month. Also part of the challenge that Nadia actually created of awesome challenge of non-judgment and being open to people that you meet, being curious rather than judging them by maybe the way they look or for whatever reason, being open to them. I love that.
Being vulnerable without fear of judgment, listening and integrating ideas.
Nice.
Take note of strategy tip to enhance social and be mindful daily of who and how I interact. Listen and hear before speaking words. Yeah, these are so good. Thank you everyone for sharing. Just keep them coming if you're still writing. A couple of things come to mind from Nadia's challenge. Maybe you've seen those people who do a DNA test. They're put in front of a camera and they have an interview before and after they do this DNA test. So before they say this thing, like there's one guy from Iceland, for instance, he's like, I'm 100% Icelandic, 100%, I'm pure Icelandic, right? He's like super, super duper focused on not being anything other than that. And him, along with others, also had this thing that they thought they were like 100% of this specific country. Then they film them when they get the test results and see the reaction. Most of them, like the Icelandic guy, his test result came out that he had 60% Icelandic, and the rest was from different countries. This guy, fair to say, was shocked. Really interesting to see his reaction on that. And it really opened his mind to where his roots came from. Another story I come to think about, I mean, my dad is a diehard Leeds supporter, and really tragic thing, there was a game Leeds played in Turkey one time, and there were 2 supporters that were killed. Now my dad, he put the whole country in hatred because of this. He hates everyone from Turkey from now on. But one thing happened when we were on vacation 2 years ago. The server, what's it called, the waiter in the restaurant we were at, he was from Turkey, and we didn't know that until he actually said it a bit later on in the interaction. I mean, you could see my dad, he was like tensing up, but this guy was so nice, and he said this thing that, you know, that's really unfortunate, and I'm so sad to hear that, and I know about that. And what I came to think about is that we see, like, we meet one person from this country, and then suddenly we generalize every single person living in that country when we only met like 2 or 3 people from a country which has millions of people. So that's just to expand a little on what Nadia said in that post. If you didn't read it yet, I would recommend checking it out. That was some really powerful stuff. What I want us to start with, actually, I want to tell a story to start off before we do any like writing exercises. It's from a movie, one of my favorite movies. It's called It's Into the Wild. Eric has seen this too. He had an insight from this yesterday, actually, that he's going to share as well. If you haven't seen the movie and want to share it, huge spoiler ahead, just to spoiler alert you. But this movie always hits me at the end. What it's about is a young man. He's just about to graduate college, top of his class, super intelligent. Although a bit naive, he has this antagonistic view towards society and materialism and capitalism. He just wants to get away from everything. He doesn't want the car that his parents buys to him for his graduation. He's just really upset with them. And his biggest dream is to go to Alaska. He just wants to go to Alaska. Really bold, audacious, but also naive goal. He's not prepared for this. There's so many things. And the highlight of the movie is really when he's traveling and he's meeting all these people along the journey, and they're helping him. There's people who give him tools he will need to survive in the wilderness by himself. really incredible story. This is a true story, by the way. It's made, like, they wrote the story from actual events that happened. And this guy is called Chris McCandless. I think I got the name right. If I don't don't attack me or something here. But Chris McCandless, he meets all these amazing people on the journey. And then as he's getting further and further, he eventually ends up in Alaska. In Alaska, now he's all by himself. And he crosses this river, which is pretty big when he crosses it. And then what happens later on is that the river, so the water, the snow from the mountains melts and the river gets bigger. And now he's basically trapped there because he can't cross it to the way back. And he's living in this, like he calls it, magic bus. And this is the end of the movie, actually, like second half of the movie, where he's all by himself out in the wilderness. He's trying to survive, figure out ways to catch animals and those things. And you can see him getting thinner and thinner. What eventually happens is that he gets sick. So he had been going out and picking some berries and eating them. And what happens is that he gets really sick, really strong signs of physical ailment. And he's scrolling through the pages of this book he has about what kind of plants you can eat. And he's going back to find the berries he ate before he got sick. And he's studying it, and he sees on one page, it's about this one plant, which is edible. But then on the other page is a plant that is poisonous and deadly, which is a little bit different on the leaves. And he studies the leaves and he sees, hey, I just ate the plant that is deadly. He's really having these moments of realization, and for sure there's regret. There's a lot of things coming up. He starts crying. He starts feeling all these intense emotions, realizing that this is going to be some of the last hours of his life, because it says that it leads to death if you eat this plant. So he tries to puke it out. He tries to do all these things. He knows he can't get help because he's stuck in the wilderness. And the most powerful moment of this movie, and this, I always tear up seeing this because just the music and everything is just so, it just hits you. He takes out his book, which is journaling in, and he starts writing, like he's really weak at this point, about to die. And he's writing down as he's gasping for the last air he can get in. And he's starting to write slowly, happiness only real when shared. And then he gasps in the last air that he can. And one last breath. And then the music starts, and you can see the life fade from his eyes. Such a powerful lesson that I'm really happy I saw this movie, because you can do all these amazing things, but if you don't have someone to share it with, it's never going to be the same. Eric, you had an experience yesterday that came to mind from this. Would you like to share?
Kind of aligned with that. I think the first thing I want to say is, a quote that I like to go back to is when you go, I try to remember it. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. The power of community is immense. And I think for me, I resonate with that very well. And I think aligned with that story, I love adventure. I love going outdoors. And for me, it's a realization of, like, you can go have the most incredible experiences. You can go do the things, whatever they are for you. You can go do all the things you love to do, but when you share that with someone, when you share that experience, that incredible experience that you love to do with someone, it takes it to a whole nother level. You know, I love to do things alone, and I love to have my alone time and do those types of things in my experiences that I love. But at the same time, I know that the things that I love, if I'm sharing them with the right people, it makes the experience 10 times better. It makes it that much better. And so we have to remember down to the core of what he's saying in this movie is like, you know, this life is meant to be shared. It's meant to be, you're meant to connect with others in this experience. And without that, it's a little bit empty, you know, it's these experiences. So for me, it's the things, I think probably for a lot of us, it's the things that we love to do with the people that we love, that we enjoy being around. When you combine those two, man, that makes a memory. That makes a rich experience that you will never forget. And when you're doing that consistently, when you're mixing those two things consistently, then, you know, you're ending up living an extraordinary life, whatever that means to you, right? Combining the things that you love to do and the people that you enjoy being around and doing those at the same time, that is a amazing thing about social life.
Awesome. We have a lot to cover, so we can see at the end, if that's okay with you, to share a story. I want us to transition into, because we just need to see that we can be on time with it. First of all, write down. So get a piece of paper and a pen. You can do it on your phone as well, whatever works for you. And we want to take a look at the 5 most influential people in your life. 5 most influential people in your life. It can be your partner, family, and of course, friends. The 5 people that have the biggest influence in your life. It can be positive and negative. It can be on the good side, but also on the bad side. Take a moment to think about that and write down your top 5 most influential people. It doesn't have to be the people you spend the most time with necessarily, but the people who have the biggest impact on you as a person.
So we'll take a minute and go ahead and write those. 30 seconds to a minute.
If you're done with the list, you can start on the exercise I have in mind. We are going to be kind of rating or ranking these influential people based on a few criteria to bring more awareness into the way you are impacting them. Now, this is a diagram. I'm going to show you a diagram I wrote about it in the description for the event. You can use this diagram in many different settings, and especially in being more relatable to people. The diagram looks like this. Maybe you're familiar with it. It's a Venn diagram. I can see how, yeah. Do you see it? It
says other, mutual in the middle, and then you on the other side.
Yes. So if you can make a piece of paper, you don't have to write these things inside right now, but if you can get a full piece of paper, a new piece of paper, and make two big circles like this, and they overlap in the middle. So you have a little bit of space to write in the middle as well.
Yep.
Now, when
Make
you
sure
have that down,
in the middle. Yep.
yeah. So when you have that down, I want you to do the Venn diagram exercise with one of the people you wrote down. Maybe the most influential person. That could be interesting, but pretty much any one of them. And on the one inside one of the circles where you are, I want you to write what's unique to you. So what's in the middle is where you have the things that are in common to you. So we're talking interests, qualities, values, personality traits, anything that makes you you. The things you do, the things you are, not so much the things you have, but what makes you uniquely you. And if you encounter something that is mutual to you, that both of you have to write it in between. Now, also, if something is very far, you can do this too. Like if it's very unique to you, it's very far away from the other person, you can write it further towards your side as well. Not a must, but it's nice if you do that too. And then of course, on the other person, you think what is unique to them. Think about what they have as quality traits, character traits, I mean, values, interests. If they like to surf, but you don't like to surf, that would be on their side. If you both like to surf, you have to write in the middle where the circles overlap. Okay? Take a moment to just write down some interests, passions, goals, maybe.
This is awesome. Yeah, let's take a minute. Go ahead and do that.
If there's any questions about what you need to do, then just write it in the chat. You can keep writing if you're not done, and I will just share some more things about this diagram. What you will find with some people is that the circles will overlap more, and then with others, they will overlap less. But if you remember what I said in the beginning about the circle with a comfort zone and the circle outside where the magic happens, it's very similar on this one, that here in the middle is where the magic happens. We all know people we meet and they just talk. They don't think about what they are talking about, where it lands on this circle. Okay, and they just talk and there's like 1 point here, 1 point here, 1 point here, and then suddenly they say something that you can relate to, but then they start talking about something unique to them. So this is a really valuable diagram to keep in mind when you go into conversations with other people, and also in terms of the friends you choose. Can you find friends where more of the circles overlap? Doesn't have to overlap entirely, because you will always have your own unique things, so that's not the point. But very important to consider these things when you're going into a relationship with someone, or looking for new friends, or even in the conversations with other people. Can you actually make more of the conversation about the two things that you are both interested in? Okay, and then, so this is the concept of staying relatable. Be relatable with the people you're interacting with. Don't just talk about, let's say I can start talking a lot about, I love going up mountains. And then for some of you, it's going to be right there in between. because you also love going up mountains. But let's say you don't care about going up mountains. Yeah. So for Eric, it's going to relate. But for some of the others of you, it's not going to relate. And then you might fall off a bit. Right. So this is very, very good to keep in mind. You did this with one person. We don't have to do it with more. But there are some more things we can do together. Like on the list of the 5 top people. So we are going to give these people some scores to bring more awareness into how they are affecting you on a personal level, you know, like mentally, emotionally, if they contribute to your life. And one thing that you can always generalize it to is, how do you feel before you meet them? And then after you meet them? Do you feel worse or do you feel better? Now, it might be sometimes you feel good, sometimes you feel worse. If it's a 50-50, they would get a 5 out of 10 score. If you consistently always feel better after meeting them, they would get a 10 out of 10 score. If you consistently feel bad after meeting them, like worse than you felt before, they would get a 0 or 1 out of 10 on that score. So I want you to score all of these 5 most influential people according to this.
Yeah, and also just to summarize that one up, that's an excellent exercise, the Venn diagram, and basically you can go through this with each 5 of your friends and figure out, hey, what are the things we really connect on? You know, the experiences or the beliefs, the values, right? And you can focus more on those, right? Or not talk about maybe some of the things that you don't necessarily connect on. So this is a way you can go through later. Obviously, we're not going to do all 5 friends right now, but this is a way that you can go in and figure out how you guys connect, what you guys connect on, to be more clear on your friendships, to sum that up. So you can do this for all 5 of the most influential people that you've already written down. Just to summarize that up. And William, do you want to take a minute to do that next exercise?
Yeah, so if you already progressed a bit on writing the scores for each person, so that's awesome. How do you deal with if the other person is totally unrelatable? I think you mean unreliable. I think you mean unrelatable. And if so, this is also with you going into the interaction. No, unreliable. Oh, okay, you mean unreliable. Oh, okay. That might be. Yeah. Do you want to take that, Eric?
Yeah, I mean, if they're unreliable, then I mean that's probably in the 0 to 5 category, because you're not getting your needs met, essentially. You know, what we're getting down to is like, if it's 5 to 10, your needs are getting met in that social relationship, right? If it's 0 to 5, you're on the other end where your needs are not necessarily getting met when you hang out with those people or when you're interacting with them. So in this situation, if somebody's unreliable consistently, that would be on the 0 to 5 end, because you're not getting your social needs met with that person. And I know sometimes it can be complicated where sometimes when they show up, they're a person that you really enjoy, but they're unreliable. I would just check in with yourself and, you know, say, is this okay with me that I see them every, 6 months or every 2 months? Is this okay with me? If not, maybe you want to move on from that relationship or not really put as much energy into it.
Yeah, they're writing that it's a family member.
Yeah. Okay. It's a family member. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. Family's a little bit different.
Then it's tougher for sure.
Yeah.
We know this one. I have the same with my mom. Yeah. It makes it way tougher. It's not just like, yeah, you can't be in my life anymore. Those boundaries get stretched much more, and we allow much more in these relationships. it's really good that it's really important that you take care of your own emotional and mental well-being. Of course, you want to extend love to them and have compassion for them.
I
I'm
also
very
think,
sad to hear that, but you're definitely in the same boat as a lot of other people, like me included. And I know Eric, he also has had some things where it hasn't been really easy. So these are challenges that are not unique to one specific person, but something that comes up for many people. Yeah.
I would say in personal experience for me, you know, we all have our own personal experience. My personal experience is there's periods of time with certain family members that I need to separate from them. It is what it is. You know, sometimes you get in a fight and you need, personally, you know, I've gotten in fights with some of my family members. You need time to get away, and it's just not going to work at this period of time. And, you know, later on when things have settled a little bit, the dust has settled, or, you know, you feel like you can approach that person when the time is right, then you can come back and approach that person and then hopefully, you know, heal your relationship. But sometimes you just need a break from them. Sometimes
That's
you do.
totally fine. Like, don't have any guilt about taking a break
Yeah.
if it really affects your mental and emotional well-being in a negative way. I had to disconnect from my mom quite a bit, and that was really good for my mental and emotional well-being. So I can definitely feel you on that.
Yeah, we had some shares here as well. And yeah, Kevin, Missy had a great strategy for that, fading away. So spending less and less time with them over time, you know, maybe a little bit different with a family member. But yeah, you can play with that as well without needing to burn bridges or anything, right? So you're slowly fading away. Karen said, what helped me is a meditation, imagining her as a child and the struggle she went through in her childhood. That's excellent. We're touching on, you know, forgiveness there. And that's a big thing. I actually do a lot of meditations on forgiveness as well, in Vishen Lakhiani's meditations. Forgiveness is huge. Thank you for sharing that. And then I hope I'm saying your name right. Elsie, or you can unmute for a second if you want.
Hi, Ilse, it is.
Ilse.
Yes.
Nice.
Ilse, okay.
Now the thing, I just got off the phone with my mother after a 2 months complete disaster. To put it in a very short word, my mother is a narcissist. It's maybe a bit of a black and white, but otherwise I have to tell a complete story. And we're kind of, she's on this end and I'm on that end. My sense of integrity is maybe a bit extreme to a lot of people. And I know that she loves me and I can feel that she loves me. And as long as my sister is not a part of anything, who is very extreme in another sense, then we get along fine. And I forget everything that happened in the past and we start to do more things together. And it's actually wonderful. And then there is something that brings the entire family together, and my mother can't deal with me and my sister being in one place. So this time she didn't mention, I know every summer she rents a house on an island here. I live in the Netherlands. And my aunt from New Zealand was coming and she just didn't mention when she was going because she didn't want me to be there. And at some point I figured out when she was going, so I asked her about it. And I can't even reproduce everything that happens after that, but it's like dealing with a snake. Whenever you try to confront someone with their lies and manipulation, and it's just, I tried everything. She just slips and I end up being the bad guy. And then I remember, all right, this is how it went my entire life. So we are completely, the relationship that we built up 6 months before that, because we haven't seen each other 4 years before that. She just, the carelessness with which she treats that with doing all of this. And what she called, well, it's just an incident and now we can move on. Or it's not just an incident, and it's not, if you lie to me and it's like I'm speaking Chinese and she's speaking Russian. Maybe that's not a good comparison, but something at the moment.
Makes sense.
But when it's impossible to get through to her. And I tried not having her in my life for 4 years, and that's not really good for me either, because I actively have to close something off and hold something off, and that I don't feel free to love and live freely then either. But after my phone conversation just now, I have to be the adult in this relationship, and the only thing I can come up with is avoid any confrontation and find solutions around situations like this by renting a house for myself on the island in the summer and inviting everyone. And if my mother wants to come, then she can come. And if she doesn't, then she doesn't. Then I'm no longer dependent on her decisions and her. That's the only thing I can come up with. And releasing all of my, and I started this a long time ago, but releasing all of my issues from the past, that it's not, doesn't trigger as intense a reaction from me. Because somehow, somewhere, after 6 months of happiness, I expect her to respond in a normal, healthy, empathic, honest way. And that's never going to happen. If she feels the situation is difficult, then she's going to do what she does to protect herself and to and it's easier with friends, because if you cross someone's boundaries that much, at some point the relationship is just sorry. But I find with family members, I'm not seeing my sister either, but that's a whole different story. I find it more difficult with my mother for some reason. And if I read in this chat, I'm not the only one with similar expectations, and I hear similar stories around me here.
This is definitely hard, the situation, and I have a lot of compassion for you in this. For me, myself, it was, my mom never intended anything bad, like to be bad in any way for me. But it was this case that I was feeling worse than I did before I met her consistently. Yeah. And you said about being unreliable, and this is, you don't really know what you can expect, like what kind of mood will she be in today. This has been the same thing with my mom. I do my best to extend compassion towards her, to realize that, you know, if someone is hurting you, hurt people, right? Healthy people wouldn't hurt people.
No.
And
I understand that, and I can see that when I'm not thrown in the middle of it.
Yeah, and the thing is, I'm sure she's trying with everything she learned from the parents she had in the way they raised her. But this is definitely a difficult situation, and it's leading up to the thing that is the next theme of what we are transitioning into with the list of 5 here, where it's really about finding ways that you can minimize the negative impact that people who come low on the list have in your life. And of course, in this situation, it's much harder to practice that, to put that into practice. But anyways, it will be really helpful for anyone who has people in their life who you feel are dragging you down, to to find other people who fulfill those needs you have, because we all have those needs for connection, for love, for having someone who cares about us, who supports us. So if we can't get that from our parents, we want to, you know, do our best to be those humans who are sending love to them, who are sending compassion to them. And then we don't expect a lot from them, and we are okay with they have their issues. And I tried to help my mom for such a long time, and it was just like pushing against the wall. It didn't lead to anything. She didn't have a desire to change. She didn't see it as she had a problem herself. And this can be the case for you with your friends. Maybe some of you have friends who fall into this type of category as well, which makes it much harder. But it's really about paying attention to how do you feel before you meet someone, and then after you meet someone. And it's about setting boundaries, you know. If someone consistently makes you feel bad after you meet them, we don't want to have a lot of people like that in our life. It really affects you in a bad way. So thank you for sharing. Thank you for being vulnerable. This is such a good thing that you are putting this out there.
Well, it doesn't have an easy solution.
Yeah, definitely not.
Gratefulness and forgiveness are important, but that's if you're in the middle of being completely frustrated because anything you say is just being thrown back in your face. It's taking time away and connecting with the people around me that I can really connect with and that share my values in life. That helps. That allows me to take some distance from the entire situation. And that way I can see where my mother is coming from.
Yeah, you need to recharge, really. Yeah, we can go deeper on this if we want after Eric does a few more shares. He has to go off on the hour mark. So Eric, do you want to, I wanted to talk a bit more about, so it goes both ways, these things, right? It's not just about how other people make us feel, but it's also about how we make other people feel. And so, yeah, thank you to those who need to hop off. Yeah, and thank you, Ilse. Thank you for the share. Yeah. Eric, do you want to share your strategy?
Yeah, so basically, in terms of shifting to where we meet these aligned people. So we're talking about upgrading our social lives, and so the strategy that I want to share that's worked personally for me is a very simple strategy, and it is showing up consistently to certain places. So what I want you guys to do right now is think of the top 3 places, public places that you like to go to, where you might meet people that you could be friends with, that might be aligned with who you are. So personally for me, an example of that is the first thing is a coffee shop. I love to go to coffee shops, and it's a great place to meet people. The second thing would be going to the gym. I like to go rock climb indoors. That's something that I can share and meet like-minded people. And personal development meetups at this specific location here where I live. So I want you to name 3 of the top places where you will go in public where you could possibly meet somebody, a new friend right now. Because the idea is that when you show up consistently, you're going to see some of the same people over and over, and people are going to get to know you regardless of, if you engage with them or not. It often happens naturally. So what are the 3 places that you show up consistently where you could find friends?
Awesome. And we also want to look at, this was mentioned in the description. Just let me know if you need to hop off, Eric. I want to go a little bit deeper on these things. Just when you go into social interactions, being relatable, and also how do you make people feel? after they've met you. Like if you can be that person who consistently makes them feel better than they felt before they met you, this will make you a person of value to them. This will make you a person that they want to spend more time with. It will make you a more valuable friend. How do you do this? One of the main ways to go about doing this is you yourself coming from a place of having a high vibe in the interaction. Now, it can't be too far off because remember this one, it will be unrelatable if you go too far. But if you stay just a bit higher in the vibe, like positivity, fun, carefree, passion, that's what we're looking for here. If you can go into the interaction, you don't bring this super serious aspect to you. You're a bit fun and playful, carefree. You're coming into the interaction with that feeling, with that vibe, so to speak. This will often lift their vibe and feel better after they met you. So one of the ways we can practice this, like communication, is really key. And communication also ties back to the Venn diagram, staying relatable, having that part in the middle. But one of the main themes of this talk was really about having that list of 5, not just the list of 5, but also how you can exemplify being a person that makes other people feel good. Oh, Eric, you need to head off. Do you want to say bye?
Yes, I've got to go. But just a reminder, we've got the social hangout. That is tomorrow. That's the 30th tomorrow. Yeah. Tomorrow. So hopefully see you guys there. And yeah, we've got a lot of stuff lined up for that. And thanks for this awesome workshop, William, and connecting with you guys and sharing vulnerability. But I've got to head out. So have a great day, guys. We'll connect with you soon.
Awesome. Thank you for being on, Eric. Yes. Awesome. Yeah. Just going a little deeper, like I said, with these traits. So where did I left off? Being relatable, really important. What kind of communication do you bring into the interaction? Some people you will find it's much smaller, the relatable part. Some people it's bigger with. Maybe you can find ways to spend less time with the people who score the lowest on these scores we made. And then maybe you can replace it with a new friend who gets the new highest score. That would be really amazing. And this would be a way to really uplevel your social life. Would have been nice to hear more of Eric's ideas on going out and meeting people, because this is also a big part of that. You can also see the recording we did on building powerful self-confidence in any social setting, because there we go deeper on the strategies and tools you can use to approach your social life, to overcome social anxiety and feel more confident when you're interacting with people. Thank you all for being on. I see a few of you had to hop off already, but thank you for being on. To finish things off, to wrap things up, the social life is sleeper category for sure. It's something that can really impact many of the other aspects of our life, and definitely happiness. Like I said in the beginning, a lot of our happiness ties back to our social life. One of the top answers on the research done on happy people is that they have meaningful connections in their life. They have people in their life who support them, who care about them. We see this in every single person who is happy and really doing well in the emotional category. It goes again and again. You see it as a recurring pattern. So we want to look at ways we can meet people, like go out to social settings where we find people where the circles overlap a lot. And we also want to look at who are the anchors in our life who hold us back, and the ways we can actually release some of that weight that they have on us, either through letting go and showing compassion and sending them love, but also maybe trying to mend the relationship in some ways. But this is a very big subject, so we don't have the time to go so much deeper on that right now. Anyways, I hope you enjoy this and got some value out of it. You can reach me and Eric on the platform if you have any questions. I think it was it Anna wanted to talk? I have to scroll up here a little bit. Annie, maybe it was. I'm gonna look through the chat later because I will have it saved, so no worries. And then I can send a few. Yeah, Annie it was. Thank you. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, let's stay in touch, some of us. Annie wanted to talk, yeah. And thank you for being on. Hope you got some value out of it. And if you have any key insights, any things you want to commit to doing after this, really think about that. You can send that to a message to us if you want to keep you accountable. And anything left to say is just have an amazing day then. Okay, thank you all for being on. All right, I'll stop the recording.